Well, we're here to a different conversation altogether. In the world of SACCOs, we say that amidst the tough times, it's always important to look into what you can do in future, and therefore investment is key. A couple of, investment arrangements that are there, but very many people are running into the SACCO world. And for a moment, you ask yourself, why is it the case? And just how much knowledge do they have as to, getting into SACCOs and investing in SACCOs and getting these SACCOs creating wealth for them? Well, most of the people will tell you, well, it's just because somebody told me that there's a SACCO and so I can put my few coins there. And so because you have some 2-3 coins that you can throw away, you do that. But with lack of knowledge on how this is going then to make sure that your future is better, this is going to help you invest and this is going to help you transform your life. And that's what we'll be discussing this morning. This is a gentleman that we've had before, and I'm glad that we have him again. It's because then we value what information he brings to us this morning. And so Henry Wachira is the branch manager, Fortune SACCO. He'll be taking us through understanding how best you can use SACCOs to invest. Karibu sana.
Thank you, Leader.
And every other time I am tempted to start on this very note, just what are SACCOs? Because in as much as we assume that we are in SACCOs and, as an office setup, you're told, well, there's this SACCO you can invest in. We really do not understand what SACCOs are and the difference between SACCOs and the numerous other investment, ports, and how then do you get to benefit from SACCOs and what they're all about?
So let me say this, Linda, that I would define SACCOs in 3 terms.
Okay.
One, SACCOs are user-owned, user-controlled, and user-beneficial. Meaning, the members own the SACCO. For you to be a member, you have to subscribe to membership.
Yeah.
So you are not only a customer, but also an owner.
Right.
Which is so key aspect of being a member of a SACCO. Secondly, who controls the SACCOs? The SACCOs are controlled by the members through their elected leaders. So they are user controlled. Okay. The board is elected or appointed through its membership.
Okay.
So like for us who are at Fortune, we have a delegate kind of a structure whereby the members elect the delegates from their own localities. Then the delegates elect the directors.
All right.
So you can see the upscale of governance. And the board is the one that supervises now the management and the operations of the SACCO as per the objective or the business plan that the SACCOs have.
Right.
So the other thing is user benefit, is that whatever the SACCOs make in terms of surplus comes back to the same members as dividends.
Okay.
It's a complete different model from what the banks usually have. Because you as a customer in a certain commercial bank, you're only there just to bank, and for example, that bank makes some money at the end of the year, you don't get anything unless you are a shareholder of that bank through the Nairobi Stock Exchange, for example, if the bank is listed. But if you are a member of a SACCO, that share that you own at that particular SACCO, you get a dividend out of it if that SACCO makes a profit at the end of the year. Okay. So that's the best decision if you want to invest. This is where you need to keep your money.
So generally, those are the key benefits again of being or part and parcel of a SACCO.
Yes.
I would want to say owning a SACCO because then we said that when you are in that SACCO, you are an owner. You are an owner. You are an owner. You are a member. All right. How does it, operate, or how do SACCOs operate in Kenya? Is it the very same thing, and do we have such forms of investment across the global fraternity? Okay,
SACCOs in Kenya, let me say, they operate in 2 ways.
Okay.
There are SACCOs which are, we call them, they are enabled to do FOSA. FOSA is the front office service activity, and the others who are mandated to do only BOSA, back office service activity. Those are 2 categories with 2 ways in 2 different regulatory frameworks. But we have found that the government is now bringing on board SACCOs who now have a deposit portfolio of 100 million to once regulation by the government, the SASRA.
Okay.
Which now brings more accountability. The other SACCOs which are not regulated by SASRA are regulated by their respective county departments of cooperatives. Now, the reason as to why the SACCO, the government is so much keen about the investment in SACCOs is because, and the reason as to also they want to straighten the regulations is because they know very well the SACCOs are the drivers of this economy. They play a very big impact in terms of driving the economy of this country. What the government is trying to do is now bring more SACCOs, more membership. And within this financial year, they are targeting to bring around 300 SACCOs, which were initially, which are deposit SACCOs, towards now the main fold of SASRA in terms of regulation.
Okay.
And in this case, now it's going to strengthen their liquidity, their reporting channels. They're also going to look at their governance structure and succession in those SACCOs. Because some of these SACCOs, some of them, let me say, which are mushrooming in each and every corner of this country, are just pyramid schemes to be called.
And there are very many.
And there are so many of them. They are open in every shop and every town center. So Kenyans need to be worried where they're putting their investments and which SACCOs they are registering. Not every SACCO.
How do they know that? How do they know that this is a legit SACCO anyway? Because the excitement, euphoria is always huge, and therefore you're told, well, there's this scheme that has come. Well, they don't say it's a pyramid scheme.
You know, in this digital era, everybody has a lot of information at their fingertips. You can be able to know which is a genuine SACCO and which is not a genuine SACCO. In this case, Linda, what Kenyans need to observe when they're looking for a genuine SACCO, they need to know about its foundations. How did this SACCO come to being?
Okay.
Who are its leaders? Who in terms of its governance, how do they elect those directors?
Okay.
You know, if there's no participation of its members, then that SACCO has a problem. It's somebody's kiosk, just as we had talked about. But if the member who is an owner is involved in terms of election of the delegates or the directors, then you have to understand there's a bit of transparency in terms of how that SACCO operates. The other thing you also need to understand, does the SACCO cater for my interests? Maybe if I'm a coffee farmer in somewhere in Kirinyaga, does my SACCO give me benefits if my pay point for coffee goes through that SACCO? Then the other thing you also need to understand, Linda, is this SACCO regulated by SASRA? Okay. If it's just a kiosk whereby there's no clear regulation frameworks, there's no clear reporting, there's no clear management structure for the SACCO, you think Kenya should have a reason to worry. Okay. Yes.
All right, so we get to advise individuals, and like I said, there's so much euphoria and excitement most of the times here, left, right, and center, and everyone is told, you know what, there's this SACCO, and you have some few coins, you can throw it there and say, it's all right, let it keep going. What are some of the basic knowledge, that, what is this basic knowledge that one would have or is required to have before they decide that they want to invest in a certain SACCO?
Okay, let me say that, for example, as I told you earlier, that SACCOs are financial vehicles that enable us to create more wealth for ourselves and even to invest. What you need to understand as an individual, now before you decide which SACCOs you are going to join, is first, your interest. Why do you need to achieve at the end of the day? Okay. Because what you need to achieve is what drives you towards the channel or the vehicle you are going to use for you to assist you to achieve whatever you want to achieve. So if you are, for example, you are a teacher, mostly you look for a SACCO that most of your colleagues are into. Whereby maybe when it comes now to guaranteeing of the loans, you don't have much of a struggle. If you are a person who is doing tea farming, you also need to join a SACCO whereby your interests are more secured. Then the other thing is returns. How much in terms of return on my own investment am I going to get if I join a certain SACCO?
So these are dividends?
These are dividends. Okay. Not only dividends, Linda. Okay. You also need to look at interest on deposits also. All right. Because SACCOs have a very wide portfolio that you can be able to invest into. Dividends, you only get them from the share capital that you invest. That share capital is not refundable per se, as per the law. Okay. But for other deposits that are refundable, you also need to ask yourself, how much interest am I about to get from the deposits that I put somewhere? Okay. I said somewhere. Okay. Then the other thing you also need to ask yourself, am I able to liquidate those deposits if on call, if I maybe want them? Or maybe when I will go to my SACCO to ask for my deposit, then they will tell me it's not something practical, or it's not possible. Yet initially, when I was joining the SACCO, they told me it's very possible. And it is because this time they maybe have some liquidity problems. That's the way the reason why they're telling you it's not possible to get your money back.
Yeah.
And then maybe they will start now citing some few clauses here and there. So it's good to understand that benefit of interest, because that's what makes now to you to have the value of money. Because what we say is that a coin today is worth more than a coin yesterday, yes, or a coin last year, because of that power of that compounding interest. So me, I would request the population to be very keen when choosing where to do your investments. The other thing, leader, also need to understand the convenience of transaction. Does your SACCO offer multiple channels of getting your money back? Okay. Maybe, for example, nowadays we have some of our citizens who are now in abroad in other countries. So if these people now want to have access to their SACCOs, is it even possible? Okay. Or you just need to fly back to Europe, maybe come and queue on to get my money back. If I want maybe to do a deposit to my SACCO, is it possible? So SACCOs nowadays are very diversified in terms of technology. You need to leverage on that technology to enable the members to access your services at a go, wherever they are. Yes. So a member who is now more tech savvy today needs to understand the SACCOs that they are really investing into. Are they matching technology? What are the rates of interest for their loans? Because that's another key area. It's very challenging economy. You also need to understand what are the rates of, what are my return of investments? Is it possible to get a loan? That's another key area that you need to interrogate at. So some of those things are some of people need to look at and understand more before you choose a certain SACCO. All
right, now that you spoke about interest rates, and I had noted it down somewhere, do they differ then?
They do. Okay. Interest rates differ.
What brings the difference?
Interest on loans or deposits?
On loans.
On loans, they differ.
Okay.
One, they can differ from a certain SACCO to the other. Okay. Depending on their management decisions. The other thing, they will depend on different products, because others, if maybe you are borrowing a long-term loan for home buying or mortgage, maybe you get a bit lower or higher interest depending on the company. Okay. Or for short-term loans, which are maybe you call them advances or overdrafts, then there's certain rate for those products. So it depends also on the kind of product you are borrowing and the SACCO that you are into. Okay. The other thing leader also people need to understand well, it's the multiplier, or how much of your deposits can you be able now to borrow against, because those deposits, for one, they act as security for your loan. Secondly, they give you the power to borrow. So a SACCO like Fortune SACCO, which is able to give you 6 times, you find that most people are now doing a preference to it, because traditionally most SACCOs do offer 3 times or 2 times the member deposit.
They say 3 times in most cases,
yes. So the stretch under which your SACCO can be able to go to gives you a good platform for you to do investments. Because, for example, if you have maybe $1 million worth of deposits or shares, and maybe you come to Fortune SACCO, they are able to give you 6 times. That's you go 6 million. Wow. So you can do a big project. Okay. Yes. So those are some of the nitty-gritties that prospects need to understand before joining a
How difficult is it for one to access the loans is one thing that we'll discuss, because they might say we'll give you 3 times as much as what you own, but when it comes to the processing of the loan, then it's quite a hassle. Then it takes you about 2 weeks, 3 weeks before you are able to access this loan that you are requesting. But before we even get to that, on a basic, perspective, I once had a conversation with a financial advisor who argues that there's no point of you having like 3, 4, 5 SACCOs left, right, and center. Why don't you just identify one and put your money there, and increase your chances of course, being able to invest in terms of also getting finances or loans back? Is it wise to have a couple of them around?
But to my belief is it's wise to have not to have your eggs in one basket. Okay. For one, but they also think other factor that is a really a determinant of why you need to have, you can have multiple SACCOs is for a reason, depending on the industry you are safe. Maybe if you are an employee, you are maybe, let's say for example, a teacher, for example, who by the virtue of the profession, you are bound to have by the employer maybe to be in a certain SACCO.
Okay. Or
rather, the organization that you work into, they have their own inbound SACCO. So in that kind of a SACCO, there's those regulations that bound that SACCO. You cannot be in that SACCO if you are an outsider. You have to be an insider.
Yeah.
So being a member of that SACCO is, let me say, it's mandatory depending on the policies of that company. But now for your own sake, you can have another SACCO that now can be able now to cater for your other interests beyond the job. Now, if, for example, if you are a farmer and you know very well, maybe I have coffee somewhere in Kirinyaga, I can join Fortune SACCO for a purpose. I know if I need a coffee loan for my school fees for my children, I will not go to my employer to borrow that one. Because maybe my employer does not know whether I have coffee somewhere. Or like a supermarket somewhere, or my tea pottery,
That's true.
So that's why, depending on with your own interest, you can diversify that.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, that's interesting. That's really, really interesting. And now I see the sense, because initially I had not really gotten the grip while we were having that discussion that sometimes, yes, you actually do not want your employer to know that, yes, you own someone and you know something somewhere, and probably you want to make the best of this business by adding stock or something of the sort.
Yeah.
So it makes sense to borrow somewhere else. So there's still more to learn in regards to how best we can get to invest on SACCOs, and Fortune in particular. They'll also tell us some of the things that they have in terms of packages and why then you should join them or any other SACCO that would be of help to you. But all that we learn after this short break.
Global Precast Panels, we have the best quality, durable and affordable precast panels to suit all your needs. Manufactured under a controlled environment, we have the best precast concrete panels, precast concrete floor slabs, precast concrete perimeter wall, precast concrete columns and beams. Our panels reduce construction cost by up to 40% with absolutely no plaster required, including added soundproof benefits. Convenient for story buildings, schools, offices, residential houses, hospitals, and warehouses. Take advantage of our free transport. Contact us on 0702 24 7267 or 0796 24 7267. Global Precast Panels Limited, your reliable option for efficient construction.
These are the sights and sounds of a working nation. There are no shortages to remarkable ideas. What's missing is the will to execute them.
You need to stay relevant. If you don't, you're going to fade off.
Yes, they are a dime in a dozen, but the real meat on these bones comes from trying to realize them.
You just need to perfect anything. If it's drawing, if it's music, pursue it 100% because it's something that is giving back.
Join me, Violet Njoki, as I tell you the stories of these executed ideas, because yours could be next. Mondays, 7:30 p.m.
Hey, now that's hitting the right notes. When life gets boring, we bring out our play. You see, playfulness is in our DNA. It's in the way we move and laugh. It's in the way we walk, the way we rock, and how we just don't stop. You feel me? We add color to everything, to every day and every dish, because the world needs our crazy. We're the different flavors that make life more exciting. We're the ones who add color to every moment. Fanta, color every moment.
Well, the speaker is neither here nor there.
I should have done my outro from here.
Yes, I don't know.
And we're just like that. I look beautiful.
Tune in to Morning Cafe, Mondays to Fridays from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. with me, Linda Alela, only on TV47, the home of Untold Stories.
Twende tukiuke Raukia siku njema na tunukiwa offers kila siku. Pata offers zote mahali pamoja ili uongee zaidi, utume SMS zaidi na ubrowse.
You are watching TV47, the home of untold stories.
Well, remember the subject was how best can you get to invest, and not just invest, but get benefits out of SACCOs. And therefore, I'll pick on some of the key things that I am aware of. And of course, we'll look forward to hear Henry enlighten us on others that are available that many of us probably could not be having an idea of. You just put your money there and you're thinking, well, it's a culture of saving. Someday I'm going to go and get that money. When you're going to get that money, you're told, no, you cannot get this money unless you share, you give this, your account or your shares to somebody else so that they can also give you hard cash if such is the case. And in most cases at that point you do not have a person you can do this exchange with, and so your hands are tied. Maybe you're at a point where you can no longer make more shares because then there are people who've lost their jobs at this time of COVID-19, and therefore they're thinking, I cannot make this contribution, this monthly contribution, and therefore I want to exit. What happens to such a person? So first, before it gets to that point, a majority of individuals will tell you that they get into SACCOs because of the power they get in terms of borrowing or incurring debt and doing their projects and then making sure that they're able to pay for the same. Collateral during borrowing is one thing that is the biggest question, and that's why I told you that in as much as you can get 3 times the money you have, what are the chances that you're going to get that? I mean, the processes that these people go through before they say that you qualify for this loan. What needs to happen so that at least you put yourself in a situation where you're capable to access loans comfortably and even pay them without having to worry about waiting for ages, going through a lot of processes before you're declared capable of getting the loan?
So Linda, in terms of accessibility of loans in SACCOs, I believe SACCOs are the best places whereby you can make an application and it sails through comfortably, unlike the commercial banks. Because the levels of bureaucracy which are in SACCOs, which are in commercial banks, yes, is so high that before you are even assured of you either get your application will get to some certain level, you are not even sure about that. But in SACCOs, there's a bit of flexibility. Yes, there are policies and there are rules to be followed. But at the end of the day, you also come down to look at you as our own member. And don't forget, you are one of the owners. So the kind of eye we look at you when you come to borrow is not the kind of eye the bank will look at you with when you're going to borrow from them. To them, you are just a customer. To us, you are an owner. That's very key. That's key. So the other thing we also need to we look at is the turnaround time. And that's very key. That's the question that you're asking about. As long as you have a purpose that is well defined with what the reasons why you want to borrow, leader be rest assured, and the capacity is there to pay, you'll get your money. Let me say this. Once you join a SACCO, like for example, if you join Fortune SACCO, we give you a duration of at least 3 months. Those 3 months are a time whereby we will learn each other. We create a relationship. During that time, you activate your account. You start doing savings with us, either on a daily basis for those who have daily cash flows from their businesses, either on a, maybe, for example, monthly, depending on whether you're employed or not, either on a maybe seasonally, if you are a coffee farmer or a tea farmer, and process coming seasonally. So it depends. So for example, if you are in business and you're able to now to work through your account for the 3 months, we will have already known how your business operates. So when you operate, when you come to us now asking for an advance or a facility, we already have a picture in our minds that Linda has this kiosk somewhere. And this kiosk, for the amount of money that Linda wants to borrow, maybe for example, you want to borrow 100,000 to earn some stock, this 100 is sufficient, and it will be able to, if Linda puts this money to the right place, she will be able to make her daily, monthly installments quite comfortably. So from there, we are able to advise you. The 100,000, yes, is good. For example, if you find that it's proper for you, Or if you feel your business does not even need the stock as per se, it maybe it requires some time for it to grow before you borrow. So once you come to borrow, we not only give you the money, but we also give you the advice.
Okay.
And which is very critical.
Very critical.
And most people now, that's what they are lacking. Sometimes they feel that there is need to borrow. But then when you come to us, we tell you, our customer, this is not the right time to borrow. For now, do 1, 2, 3. And once you do this, you can find your business turning around well, than even adding more stock. Because what is happening, Linda, some of what we have found in this economy today, some of the shops that we fund and some of the customers that we are with, you find that they have shops which are well stocked.
Okay.
But the turnover of that stock is quite low.
It's quite low. Okay.
Then you find this person coming out to borrow. You see now there's a problem there, because if he's not able to turn around this stock quite fast, and he still wants more stock, how will he now be able to repay you? Yet he has now a big burden of turning around this now more stock to cash. That's true. Yet he is still struggling to do that.
Okay.
So in that particular aspect, you find that this person, you will tell them kindly now, maybe what is required for you is more of marketing. Go out, look for clients to buy your stock, so this you can be able to turn it around very fast. And if you're able to do that, then that time come for credit to add more.
Okay.
So at times it's not a customer does not only come to borrow and we give money. You can come to borrow and then we give advice that can really assist them to move forward. Yes.
What are some of the things that then one would do to enhance their credit capability or building credit capability? I'd want to assume, and I mean this is what my mom used to tell me. Ingia kwa hii SACCO niko, because hata sasa ile unataka loan nitakugaranti, kuna papa hapo, there's somebody else and all that. What are some of these things that you need to know? Well, aside from putting in so much of savings and so much of money, what else should you look into when you're thinking that, well, in future I'd want to access credit, or I'd want to access to get a loan, and therefore this and this should be put into consideration?
Linda, you cannot then play the power of the deposits at all, because once you join a SACCO, you only get credit depending maybe on the shares that you have invested into that SACCO. For example, if you come to Fortune, me, I'll be very outright. I'll tell you, within the 3 months of your membership, you need to have accumulated a certain figure for you to borrow a certain figure.
All right.
So it will have to be we have to be plain and clear from the word go. And I'll tell you, for you to maybe access 6 million, you need at least 1 million. And for you to access that 6 million, because now, Linda, no one will be able, or maybe accept to guarantee you the 6 million. Can you be able to be looking for a tangible security? Either a logbook or a title deed, which has more value or equal or more value than the loan that you are coming to borrow.
Okay.
Yeah, because as I said initially, the people who are in the SACCO as customers are the members, and we would not want to have much more of our members' funds at risk, whereby you have given Linda 6 million and the Linda is only 1 million. What about the 5 million, which is at risk? So for you to ensure, in case things go bad completely, we can be able now to salvage the members' funds. That is why we ask for these securities. So once you join a SACCO, we take you through the requirements that you'll be required when you come to borrowing. So from the onset, you are already prepared. And so to find that at the time of borrowing, you already have clear picture of what the bank or the SACCO will require from you.
Yes. All right. The basics. I'm getting into a SACCO. What are some of the key obvious benefits that would be there, me being a SACCO member, as opposed to investing on other waters? One thing,
Linda, which is of paramount importance, is the guaranteed returns.
Okay.
SACCOs, investing in SACCOs is a sure bet. Let me say this, because they're even better than stock exchange. Because for sure, in a SACCO, if it doesn't make my money, my share value will still remain.
Okay.
In stock market, if the share drops in value,
yes, your money goes down.
So in whichever circumstance, you're already assured of a secured guarantee somewhere, and that is not negotiable. Secondly, You know very well you have access to credit when you need that. As long as you have your purpose is clear and you have the capacity to pay, you get money. The other thing is the SACCO is customized to listen to its members. So Linda's problems, which are different from the other person's problem, we look at your problems individually as a person. And then from what you tell us, then we are able to give you a solution depending with your problem. You see, so that's the benefit, that's the big benefit. And you know, in comparison to what commercial banks have, commercial banks, if you go for a personal loan, they will look at their policies from A to Z.
That's true.
If you miss one,
you're out.
You're out.
Yeah.
And you see, so if you are a person now who is aspiring to do investments, it's good to understand how and where. The other thing you also need to look at is limited liability. The SACCOs are corporate institutions.
Oh, yeah.
Limited through member shares. And you find that in case a member, in case the SACCO is insolvent or goes down, the ability of SACCO's liabilities, as in the losses, can only affect your capital, the share contributed in the SACCO, and can never touch your personal assets. Yes, it can never, you can never come for your car if the SACCO comes down. So the liabilities are limited to the shares contributed in that SACCO. The other thing you also need to understand is the SACCO is the governance of SACCO is through its members. Its member elected. I don't know the last time you went to maybe, for example, to elect
just the other
an elector at Equity Bank or maybe or KCB or any other place. Never. You know. But in SACCOs, we find that there are certain periods of the year you hear that SACCOs are conducting elections to go and elect their members.
We did that the other day virtually.
Yes. Yeah. And you know, at this time you have a stake into that. And your vote counts depending on the shares that you have. Not depending on the shares. Every member, regardless of the shares, you have one vote.
Yes.
So if Henry has 500,000 and Linda has 5,000 only, you still have one vote. It's so equal. So the decision that you make at the ballot is equal to all members. That's very key. And so these members are there to represent your own aspirations and your interests as a member, which is very key. Those are the most reasons as why now you as a prospective investor, you need to join a SACCO.
All right. So other arrangements that I see in different SACCOs, how good are they, or how dangerous they can be? SACCOs, you know, I've seen a couple of them, you know, getting into other ways of investments that would probably loop in members. For instance, you'd see as a SACCO that they get into real estate. As a SACCO, they say, well, we can help you as a SACCO to purchase a certain commodity. We have have an arrangement with, you know, the owners or the people who are in this particular sector, and therefore we can work on arrangements that would help our members access the same, you know, maybe at an affordable rate, or maybe, you know, in small what do we call installments or something of the sort. Is it wise to get into such arrangements, and or how dangerous can that be?
Okay, I wouldn't say it's dangerous, Linda, but as I said initially, you know, you also need to look at your own plan, you as an investor. How do I want to acquire maybe my assets, for example? Maybe SACCOs which are into real estate, they will ask you first buy shares for you to qualify to be a member. Then from there, you are able now to buy housing shares. For you now to enable you now to acquire the property maybe that they are floating or that they are selling. So it also depends down to you as an individual how you would want to acquire that asset. And even these SACCOs, the ones who have those kind of investments, they will give you they are flexible, or they give you a choice in terms of how you want to acquire that asset. Others will tell you, can you come and we will give you a loan, maybe 100% cost of that asset. Others will tell you contribute 50%, then maybe you can be able to finance you the other 50%. Others will tell you, you come, we will give you this asset, then we'll be paying on a month-to-month basis. So it also depends with your sources of income as an investor, or how flexible you feel that you want now to acquire the asset that you need. Yes.
All right. And while you acknowledge that we are owners, once we get into SACCOs, and they can really be lenient with us, or we can really be lenient with ourselves. SACCOs largely, operates on basis of trust. What happens in scenarios where an individual defaults, maybe from a loan or something of the sort?
Yeah, that's a very cardinal rule when it comes to any financial institution.
Yes.
And default is something which is really bringing most organizations down. And if you have to look at this situation, these times when Kenyans are in really hard economic times, the rate of default has quite gone up in the last couple of years. So when you look at a SACCO, and Fortune is not an exemption, it's in that industry, of course, we look at a member depending on their needs. For example, if this member was doing so well before COVID, for example, and then out of COVID pandemic problems, this member was not able to service their own property, we call them, we give them a chance first. We remind you that you have a loan to pay, because money is to error, you can forget so easily that you have a loan because of other obligations that you have.
Yeah.
Then after reminding you, we call you, we tell you now this and this. So when you come maybe and you explain to us very well, and they're able to understand maybe your problem is genuine, it's not out of malice, for example, we'll sit down with you and we agree how will you be able to service the loan. Because at the end of the day, this money has to be paid back. It's members' money at the end of the day. So it has to be paid back. So for you, you give us your strategy, or rather your plan of how you intend to pay us back. And the other thing we also look at, apart from that strategy now, because you may ask us, can you do the early schedule of my own? If I was paying 50,000 per month and my business come down, I can only manage now to pay 20,000.
Okay.
We agree how to spread that installment over a certain period of time. Maybe you are used to, if you have to pay your loan within a year, you spread your loan to 3 years. So at least you can have that comfortability of making those payments. The other thing we were doing is giving you a moratorium. Some people were asking for an absolute moratorium, others were asking for a partial moratorium. An absolute moratorium is whereby you ask for maybe for 3 months, you don't pay anything until now your business stabilizes, for example. The other people will ask for a partial moratorium. Maybe I will be paying interest only, and then the principal, I will start making payments after my business has stabilized. So it depends with what now when you come to us, how we are going to agree. And as I told you, we look at case by case basis, depending on the customer and the business that they're doing.
All right, incredible. Time is moving very fast. So to entice you so that you can advertise with us, just what is available in Fortune?
Fortune Leader is a full basket. And I believe now, as I leave this place, you sign somewhere on the dotted line. I believe that if you become a member of Fortune, you get quite a lot. For one, you are assured of up to 6 times your loan. Up to 6 times
the amount of money that
you have invested with us. So it's more than what other SACCOs are offering or other banks are doing. Other banks are doing 2 or 3 times, but you can stretch up to 6 depending with the purpose and the kind of project that you're intending, and even the capacity to pay. The other thing about Fortune, we have other investments like Ginue investment account, whereby you as an investor, you can be able to continue building up that account. It's like a fixed deposit, yes, but this one gives you more flexibility in terms of deposits. And the more you deposit that account, it earns you good interest at the end of the year, at 10% interest at the end of the year. So if compared to what most banks are offering in terms of their fixed deposits and even the term paper from the government, you find that so those are some of the products that are really enticing the customers to come to us. The other thing was to find the business loans. We are here to support SMEs. Like here in Nairobi, mostly we don't have farmers. We have MSMEs here. And those are the drivers of the economy. So at Fortune, we are able now to look at the MSMEs and enable them to transform and drive their business to greater levels. We look at their business. We give loans even to 50 million and above, depending on the purpose and the capacity that the client has and can be able now to pay. So there's all, Fortune has all what you need. If it comes to accounts like the ones for the children or for little kids, apart from now getting the checks, bankers' checks per year for paying of the school fees, you find that that account itself earns you a clean 10% interest per annum.
All right.
And that one, you don't even get a tax for it because this is an account which are owned by the children. So parents, apart even from now getting insurance for their kids, they can look at that account, which we call the money junior account, and invest into it more. So at least at the end of the year, if you have accumulated 100,000, you'll be able to get 10,000 extra. That 10,000 can now boost your school fees for the kid. And if your kid is small, you can be able to grow those shares or those deposits for a longer period of time. So by the time this kid joins maybe high school, you'll have more than even enough for your kids and even for your other businesses. So Linda, it's a full basket, and we urge our viewers this morning that Fortune is the place to be. And we always say that your success as an investor or as a farmer or as a teacher is our own success.
Well, that's great. Check them out. It's really, really important where you can put this money, and in future it comes to serve you is one thing that you would love, and not just in future. I mean, it's the time.
The future is today.
Yeah, the future is today actually, and therefore you benefit out of this. So in a minute or so, now I want to exit from this SACCO, probably get into a different one, or maybe times are tough and I'm not able to put into that kitty anymore. What happens?
So if you want to exit from the SACCO, we actually, before even you join, we give you our terms and conditions. So at least now you can be able to go through them, and before you sign the dotted line, you are able to know if I want to exit, these are the rules. So if you want to exit maybe from Fortune, you give a notice of 2 months. That's 60 working days. For you now to have your savings back. But the disclaimer here, Linda, is that you can only get redeemable shares back. But for share capital, as per the regulator directives, you can't get that back. Because as I said initially, the share capital is the unit of ownership. And share capital is used to do capital expenditures. If the SACCO has bought a building, for example, you cannot ask for that building to be sold for you to get a pie of whatever you contributed. But for other deposits, you can get them back, you can redeem them back. But you find that because that SACCO is still a going concern, it's continue doing business. The share capital that you invested, even when you existed in the SACCO, it will still continue giving you dividends every year.
So you don't necessarily have to. You don't necessarily have to contribute.
Good.
You just cut it at that, and then enjoy the dividends of the money that you put there.
But if you feel that you don't want to continue to do it, enjoy those dividends, you don't want to do anything with the SACCO, you can still sell those shares
to another individual.
To another individual or a corporate. Yes.
Fair enough. There's so much that I'd still want to ask, but time would not allow us. In 30 seconds, your parting shot as we close.
So my parting shot and to our viewers this morning is that before you join a SACCO, it's very good to understand that some of those things we have really discussed this morning.
That's true.
And let me say something. Don't join any SACCO because it has the name SACCO on its doors. Join a SACCO whereby you can benefit, you can grow your wealth, and maybe you can turn around your investments. That is the bottom line, because everybody today is looking to grow wealth and to get somewhere in the future, where a future that is going to be beneficial to you yourself when you retire, maybe for example from your active service today, and of your kids and generations to come. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Henry Washira, Branch Manager, Fortune SACCO. I have come out of this set with so much knowledge that will be very important. Well, we'll still be having this running on our social media platforms. So in case you just marched in and missed out on some of the key things that we've mentioned, worry not. You can always access that information out there. And like he says, kindly check them out. Fortune SACCO, you don't know, maybe there could be that SACCO that you probably, should have started investing with long time ago, and, speak of benefits that will be good for you now that we keep saying that the future is now. We close it at that. I am excited as I look forward to see you again tomorrow, and I certainly wish you nothing but the best for the day. My name is Linda Alela. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Global Precast Panels, we have the best quality, durable and affordable precast panels to suit all your needs. Manufactured under a controlled environment, we have the best precast concrete panels, precast concrete floor slabs, precast concrete perimeter wall, precast concrete columns and beams. Our panels reduce construction cost by up to 40% with absolutely no plaster required, including added soundproof benefits. Convenient 4-story buildings, schools, offices, residential houses, hospitals, hospitals, and warehouses. Take advantage of our free transport. Contact us on 0702 24 7267 or 0796 24 7267. Global Precast Panels Limited, your reliable option for efficient construction.
These are the sights and sounds of a working nation. There are no shortages to remarkable ideas. What's missing is the will to execute them.
You need to stay relevant. If you don't, you're going to fade off.